I can walk around, right? Hi, everybody. Happy Founders Week, everybody. It is so awesome to have all of you here, especially since I know we had a YouTube in your office viewing option. So thank you for arriving in person, because it's just so energizing for me to see all of you, because you actually make the whole world go round here at Huntsman Cancer Institute. I always love this time of year because it's a time of year when I get to reflect on where we're going as an organization. Well, of course, I do this 24/7 also, but I get to reflect with you about where we're going as an organization and what we've actually accomplished in the past year. And also because it's Founders Week, we take a moment collectively, and I hope all of you will do this throughout the week, and reflect on the people who have made Huntsman Cancer Institute possible, the many founders who have sacrificed so much because they cared so much about making a difference and lifting patients and communities in a way that was really seriously needed. We are here today because of that sacrifice, but it's also because of the contributions that each and every one of you are making each and every day. And this brings me to one of the biggest challenges associated with this annual presentation. That is, there are 4,000 amazing people who are working at Huntsman Cancer Institute, and there's no way I can even scratch the surface on all of the incredible contributions that you're making. And I will highlight a few today, but you need to know that what I am telling you about is just a couple examples of the many, many things that are happening here, making a huge impact for cancer prevention and treatment, thanks to the work that goes on at Huntsman Cancer Institute. And I also want to mention that even when I mention a few people, I want you to know that I know, and we all know, that behind the scenes, there are hundreds of people in admin, in finance, in computer support, in clinic support staff, in clinic coordination staff, in the facilities space, in the environmental services space, the food services space, everywhere, that lifts and supports all of the work that I'm going to be describing today. So give yourselves a big round of applause, because you have rocked it this year. It's been a really, really amazing year. And I think part of what we're so fortunate in at Huntsman Cancer Institute is that we have such a compelling purpose. We are addressing an issue that touches literally everyone. 1 in 2 men, 1 in 3 women will have a cancer diagnosis at some point in their lifetimes. And having a mission that is that compelling, that is addressing such an unmet medical need, such an important issue, I think gives us a lot of strength and energy. And we also are so appreciated by patients and communities that we touch each and every day. I don't think for me a week goes by, and often not a day goes by, that I don't get a text or an email or a phone call or run into somebody in the community who tells me a story about how their lives have been touched, enhanced, healed, how they had hope as a result of finding and coming to Huntsman Cancer Institute. And it's because of the incredible information that we provide to people in communities, the care and compassion that we provide in our clinics, and the fact that they know that we are doing leading edge science that is influencing that care right here in our own facilities. This message came 2 ways to me. One was by a text message. This was a gentleman who was a patient of ours last winter. He's from Boise, Idaho, and he had colorectal cancer, had an emergency issue related to his cancer in the middle of the night in Boise, went to the ED, got with his care team there, and they said, you need to go to Huntsman Cancer Institute. We need to fly you there. He was in a lot of pain, but there was a blizzard happening, so they couldn't fly him there. So they bundled him up, put him in an ambulance, and 5 hours later, he arrived at our hospital. His wife had to go home to get a plane ticket and get some of his stuff and his medicines and things like that. She was up all night with Delta trying to get a plane reservation, gets here the next day, and by the time I met him, he was just smiling and so grateful that he had found Huntsman Cancer Institute. He was getting the care he needed. And it made me realize once again how absolutely critical what you do each and every day is. He put this note on his door. He had really good handwriting too, as you can see. Put this note on his door as he left. And he's been in touch with me ever since. So grateful. This is just one person out of so many that I'm sure you all hear the stories as well. So this person is why John Huntsman had a vision to create Huntsman Cancer Institute. As many of you know, John himself was a cancer patient, and he was cured of his cancer, and he, as a result, said, I don't want anyone to have to go through the confusion that I went through when I got my initial diagnosis. And he made a decision to dedicate his life, his wealth, his passion, everything in his spirit to Huntsman Cancer Institute. He wanted to create a cancer campus. He stood on this empty hillside in the mid-1990s and said, I'm going to do this. People thought he was nuts, but here we are, 25 plus years later, with 1 million square feet dedicated to healing and hope, and people finding that healing and hope here, because this person had a dream that was bold and ambitious, and he was determined and undeterred, even though he had challenges along the way, and because all of you and all of your predecessors have locked arms with him and his family and so many patients and others who have really, fostered Huntsman Cancer Institute's life. We started with what we thought was a really bold vision from an empty hill to have a cancer campus, but we've just amplified on that each and every time we've established a new vision statement. From there, we wanted to be a National Cancer Institute designated comprehensive cancer center. That was, that is the highest accolade that can be received from the National Cancer Institute. And at the time that we had that ambition, we were far away from achieving that goal. We achieved that goal, and now we are determined to deliver a cancer-free frontier through scientific discovery and human touch. Now that's a pretty darn ambitious vision that probably won't need to be changed for a while unless we really deliver quickly. But I think it's something that is so inspiring and so compelling, and I hope you feel it each and every day when you come to HCI. I think we empower that vision with our core culture, our principles, patient and community first, united effort and excellence in all we do. And I'm going to share with you some perspectives from some of your colleagues that I think really highlight that this culture and these principles really are felt deeply by everyone who works at HCI. I think a really important point to remember as we set these ambitious goals for ourselves is that we have to have tempo. We have to have the drive to move quickly and to expect a lot from ourselves and our colleagues. And this, I think, is part of our DNA, in part because of our founders like John Huntsman. He made this massive gift, $100 million back in the mid-90s, to establish Huntsman Cancer Institute. But as soon as one building was coming out of the ground, we were already planning the next one. And the need was so clear, and the need continues to grow. And we continue to grow to meet that need. That's what we do. We do not stop, and we do it with gusto and with tempo and with pace because patients and communities need us. And I think that's part of, our sort of distinguishing characteristics. Right now, we've got 3 things underway. We've got an upcoming opening of a HCI clinic in Utah County, which is being developed. We broke ground on our Huntsman Cancer Institute Comprehensive Cancer Center in Vineyard, and just last week with the university broke ground on the West Valley Health Center, where HCI will have a significant ambulatory presence. So we didn't get through all of these ambitious efforts and contributions without many, many people along the way. I mentioned, of course, John and Karen Huntsman. They're our founding benefactors, and they really have instilled a lot of their values and commitments in all of us. And we're here to kind of remember where we came from in a certain sense today and this week. This is the 3rd week in June. John's birthday is on June 21st, so we always have Founders Week this week to commemorate his incredible contributions. The Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints with us from the beginning, and on the right-hand side, you can see some of the major donors and founders who supported the Catherine F. Kirk Center for Comprehensive Cancer Care and Women's Cancers. Spencer and Kristen Kirk, amazing people. Spencer lost his mom to metastatic cancer when she was just 50-something years old. His brother also succumbed to a cancer diagnosis. Scott and Karen Smith. Scott also one of our cancer patients. He's been very public about that, and he's very, very grateful. And then the Sigma Chi fraternity, which is something that is very, very special in conjunction with our Huntsman Cancer Foundation, which I'll say more about later on. This is a group of young people who have selected Huntsman Cancer Institute as their cause, and they have raised almost $30 million to support Huntsman Cancer Institute, which is absolutely incredible. They were here, a bunch of them are here this week, and they're coming throughout the summer for a leadership course that's being offered that they participate in. But I'll tell you what, I met some of these young people on Monday morning, and it gives me so much hope for the future. There's a lot going on in the world right now, and you wonder what the heck is going on. Hang out with some Sigma Chi's. They're really, really, really inspiring. They're ambitious for good, and it's really terrific. So, we have been blessed by amazing people, and we sent a survey out to many of you, and many of you responded, asking you, because it's Founders Week, what would our founders say to you? What would our founders say to us what advice would they give us as we think about Huntsman Cancer Institute's next chapter? And let me say, I think you guys, many of you responded, but I think you really have it. You have the sense of what our founders really dreamed of. This is what you said: move fast. That was, John Huntsman used to always say, cancer moves fast, we need to move faster. You said, move fast, stay focused, keep our eyes on the patients, make sure they feel hope, never settle for anything but the very best, continue to grow, excel, push new boundaries, discover new things, always discover. Stay bold, collaborate, never lose sight of our core mission. Keep going. Success is always around a corner you can't see yet. Doesn't that make you proud? That's what you said our founders would tell us. I think you called it exactly right. They would be so proud to see how we have applied all of that advice that they would have given us as we developed our 2030 strategic plan, Delivering a Cancer-Free Frontier. This plan provides a roadmap for us for how we're going to execute and really deliver that cancer-free frontier, how we can make the greatest difference in the shortest amount of time. And we involve the entire community, including our community advisory board, patients, many stakeholders, our faculty, our staff, our students, members of our communities in the areas we serve, the 5-state Mountain West. And we came up with 5 main pillars or priorities, if you will, that were absolutely essential. We had to deliver meaningful impact in these 5 areas in order, we believed, to be able to deliver that cancer-free frontier. Scientific impact, discovery, clinical innovation, workforce development, community health, and access. We also made a commitment that we were going to focus on these 5 pillars in the context of a culture of engagement. This reflects Huntsman Cancer Institute's core values, a culture of inclusion, of belonging, an environment where everyone feels welcome, an environment where everyone feels supported, an environment where everybody has pathways to contribute to their highest possible level. And we've been doing a lot of work in this space, and I see Brad Cairns here. I just want to say to Brad, stand up for a second and just, let's see, do we have a microphone? Okay, maybe he doesn't need a mic. I'm gonna look out there. I might call on a few of you today that I see out there, because you're doing work that is really critical, and I want to make sure it gets highlighted. But Brad has been doing work in this culture of engagement space by developing a really innovative program for leadership development and engagement of our talent, both faculty and staff, the LEAD program. So just say a couple words about it, why you're so excited about it.
That's fine. So I just want to say that HCI leadership collectively really recognizes and celebrates that major driver of our collective success towards our mission goals has been the amazing collaboration, collegiality, and synergy that's come between our faculty and our extremely valued staff. And when we set up HCI LEAD, that was top of mind for us, that we wanted a program where our faculty and our staff could participate and learn new leadership skills together. And in fact, when we poll the alumni from the cohorts and we asked them what the things they most liked about the program, that repeatedly came up, that after leaving the program, they had new friends and new colleagues, both staff and faculty, across the enterprise, which I think is just great.
Thank you so much, Brad. And I got to say, I got to meet some of the people in the LEAD program because I participated in it last year. It was incredible to hear the projects that people are coming up with and the real creativity and engagement. And you know, think about that. This is something that we want all of you to feel that you can contribute at your highest level here at HCI. An interesting thing that came out when we had our strategic planning with all the focus groups and you know, the many surveys and the many retreats, et cetera, we had all kinds of ideas for things that we wanted to do under those strategic pillars. But there were 4 kind of big themes that came out that kind of went across all the pillars. One was we have to expand our geographic impact. We can't deliver a cancer-free frontier from this hillside alone. That was one major thing. People were really excited about the opportunities for incorporating AI and machine learning across the enterprise in many ways, for scientific discovery, for efficiency measures, for communication efforts, et cetera. Development of digital health capabilities, another area that came out time and time again as an opportunity that we could seize to really develop and secure our leadership role in bringing cancer to people at a distance. And I would say these 2 areas, AI and digital health capabilities, the feedback that we got was really influential for our Cancer Center Director and Chief Scientific Officer, Neely Ulrich, who has really framed a lot of the focus for our Vineyard campus and the research that's going to be happening there in these 2 areas, along with clinical translation, because we see that as one of the most striking opportunities that really complements a lot of what we're doing on our current campus. And then finally, partnerships. And I want to say something about partnerships and collaboration. This was one of the things that after the retreat, I think we all just kind of went, wow, we have such ambition and we see so many pathways to deliver on the promise, but we can't do it alone. So partnerships, collaborations have really come out loud and clear. We are kind of by definition a collaborative entity. Huntsman Cancer Institute at the University of Utah brings together people from 41 different academic departments that care about cancer. So we're the best example that the University of Utah has of a 1U initiative. We really always have been a 1U initiative. I think we are also now in complete sync and alignment with our health system, with ambition to bring UHealth care, including our oncology care lines, to more geographies to have greater impact. We've heard our president talk about unsurpassed societal impact, and here we've heard him talk about how we're going to get there as a university, and it's going to be through our health system and our science and research. Those are the areas that that no one else does together in our state. So that's where we're going to have the place to have the greatest impact, and that's, of course, places where HCI has distinction. We have many, many other groups that in the last several years we've begun to collaborate with very, very extensively. Utah Valley University, BYU, Utah County commissioners, et cetera. And it's been so incredible how many people want to partner with us to make a difference and to advance that vision of a cancer-free frontier. And we can do so much more together, bringing in more members of the community, both in terms of science and workforce development and healthcare delivery, and also in terms of policy. So I'm going to pivot now to telling you some examples of some of the really exciting accomplishments in the last year related to these pillars. And again, I probably won't even be able to talk about all the things that are on the slide, let alone all the things that are happening. But so do a little fast reading while I'm maybe giving a highlight of one thing on the slide. But scientific impact, I've just got to say, all of you who are in the scientific community, you have been absolutely amazing, productive, creative, innovative, collaborative, and you've continued to deliver in terms of bringing substantial extramural support for your programs at a time that is extraordinarily competitive. So, you know, seeing this trajectory of an average annual increase of 8% in terms of contracts and grants is extraordinary, and you should be very, very proud of what you've accomplished. We have over 300 clinical trials open to enrollment. This is something that is incredibly valuable for our patients and their families and is a differentiator in terms of outcomes for our patients. We have more than 50 investigator-initiated clinical trials, and these are those special trials that come from the science in our own laboratories. So they're very unique and they're very, very important because we are the real experts in knowing that scientific underpinning and knowing how best to apply it for patients in the clinic. Where's Alana? There's Alana Whelm. Alana Whelm is here, and she's a person who has been a long-standing scientist at Huntsman Cancer Institute. She's been a program leader, a senior director, and now she's also the newly appointed chair of the Department of Oncological Sciences, which is one of our core research departments fully embedded in Huntsman Cancer Institute. She's also the principal investigator on one of these investigator-initiated clinical trials, which is endeavoring to tackle a really big challenge, which is how to care for patients, how to treat patients with triple-negative breast cancer. So, Alana, tell us a little bit about, I know, in 3 sentences, tell us a little bit.
Well, this is a story of teamwork and collaboration again, and something that I think is very special at HCI. We were trying to make better models of breast cancer by growing patient tumors in mice, and made the accidental observation that only people whose tumors could grow in the mice were the ones who ended up with distant metastasis and death from their disease. So in partnership with Brian Whelm and Cindy Matson, we did a prospective trial and found out, yes, that was true. It was published last year. And that's led now to another prospective trial led by Chris Vaklavas and myself to now personalized therapy for people who have this terrible prognosis, and we're growing their tumor in the lab anyway, so we test which drugs might work. We also did this in metastatic breast cancer in another trial led by Sandra Baez. So that's enough info.
Really, really exciting because we don't know what drugs are the best, but now we have, through this incredible science, an opportunity to predict which drugs will work the best for these patients. So Yes, fingers crossed, and thanks for all you do. And thanks for highlighting the collaboration, which is, I think, really, really powerful. Over 15,000 patients, participating in clinical research and many first-in-human therapeutic trials. Niraj Agarwal just led a really important global clinical trial testing a combination of therapies for a particular type of metastatic prostate cancer and demonstrated in this literally, international study led out of Huntsman Cancer Institute that this combination of drugs increased survival and improved outcomes really significantly. So that's going to be the new standard of care for those particular patients. So we're doing things that make a difference, not just here, but really literally worldwide. Lots of publications, over 700, I think it's over 700 publications. And I have some examples here, which I won't go into because of time, but just let me say the themes: cancer genetics, control of gene expression, and how we can regulate that to improve cancer outcomes. Precision oncology using AI and imaging. This is an amazing study in prostate cancer out of Jonathan Tord's group that has basically looked at over 6,000 annotated biospecimens, and using AI and machine learning, they can now just look at the biopsy sample and predict which treatment is best for that patient with little other information. Amazing. Think about how that's going to democratize cancer care and decision making. And then digital systems for cancer symptom tracking, improving cancer outcomes for patients at a distance. Another great theme of this digital systems and AI that we're going to be investing in more in the future. Clinical innovation, the second pillar. We have made a lot of progress in this space, investment in a number of important programs, a new division of surgical oncology, a new brain metastasis clinical program, launched the Impact Center, which is focused on research on cancer care delivery led by Tom Varghese. We have expanded our ability to bring complex, high coordination therapies, the leading edge of new therapies, to our patients, including a lot of science and innovation around these therapies. In the cellular therapy space, that includes CAR T cells. It includes these really cool bispecific antibodies that grab with one arm an immune cell like a T cell and grab with the other arm a tumor cell and bring them together so that the tumor cell can be killed. Really, really powerful technology where we're doing a lot of work. Theranostics. Come on down, you guys. Just come find seats down here. Make yourselves at home. Incredible theranostics approach that takes advantage of the fact that we have a cyclotron and a lot of expertise in radiopharmaceuticals. And Jeff Yap is here, and he was just sharing with me before this presentation something really exciting in the theranostics space. So Jeff, tell everybody about it.
Sure. So we've been doing clinical trials of these new theranostics. And in this, a drug is developed to bind to a specific type of cancer cell, and then we attach a radioisotope that we can use to image that cancer cell and see if if this drug is going to be delivered to the patient. And then we take a more powerful isotope and attach it to the same drug and treat the patient. So we're now doing clinical trials. Earlier this year, Dr. Howard Coleman did a clinical trial where we were the first site in the country to treat a patient with one of these new drugs for brain cancers. And then today, Dr. Villafloro has a clinical trial, and we are treating our very first pancreatic cancer patient with one of these new drugs.
That's awesome. Congratulations to the team. Yeah, thank you. So you realize that this is happening in real time. This is just today, right? So every day something like this is happening at Huntsman Cancer Institute, thanks to the amazing work that you're all doing. Lots of advanced technologies coming online as well, robotic surgery investment, SPECT, and excited that we're in the late stages of planning for a second proton beam, which is going to be really, really critical for our patients as well. Thanks to all of you who care for patients in the clinic. You do an amazing job. Our inpatient average daily census has gone up 14% in the last year. That's thanks to bringing on the Kirk building. We're going to be full again before we know it. We're starting to think about what's next to serve this incredible pressing need of patients in our community. Last year we had over 330,000 patient encounters. Just think about that number. That is huge. Thanks to all of you who are meeting with patients and caring for them and talking to them on the phone and helping them navigate their cancer journeys. All of that while retaining exceptional patient experience and exceptional financial performance. So, I mean, really fantastic, fantastic job. Really, really grateful for all you do. It's so core to our mission. We are also in workforce development, hosting over 600 trainees, high school students, college students, graduate students, postdocs, fellows, across the entire spectrum of Huntsman Cancer Institute. And we've been expanding the groups that we collaborate with for workforce development and training the next generation of leaders. We have, we're going to have in our state and region and beyond a major challenge with clinical care workforce. And of course, we want to attract the most talented people to join us in cancer science and research as well. So we're doing a lot of work in that space, and Katie Ullman leads our cancer training network overall, but I see Dawn Ayers sitting here too, and Dawn has been doing some really innovative things with some new partners in this space. So Dawn, tell us what you're most excited about.
There's actually so much to be excited about. You know, I love this time of year because, not only because of Founders Week and the excellent power bars, but, you know, really Huntsman and Huntsman Labs welcome about 60 students, interns, summer interns, to conduct research. So I think that's a really exciting time, and I think it's really important to acknowledge all the labs that they go into, because it's work to train a student. Mm-hmm. So thank you to the 60 mentors that have taken, you know, in some cases more than one student into the lab. But the other thing that's really exciting, especially as we sort of launch into the construction of Vineyard, is new partnerships with universities in that part of our state. Utah Valley University and BYU. You know, over the last several years, we've been building these relationships, and as I've gotten to know sort of the leadership of these two schools, I've been so impressed with their commitment to undergraduate education, their commitment to building the workforce. And, you know, Mary likes to say, we have the secret sauce. I think they share this very same secret sauce. I don't know if it's fry sauce, but it's something like that. But I've just been so impressed with our partners, and I've been so impressed with the students from BYU and UVU who've come up here. We've already have several active programs, particularly with AC Tan and Brad Cairns, working with data science students on capstone projects. I see that only growing, and I see just nothing but opportunity as we go forward. And you know, the short-term idea is to have these programs here at this campus, but as the Vineyard campus opens, is to transport some of those programs, some of those training programs to the new Vineyard building. So thank you. Thank you,
Don. Thanks for all. And let me echo the appreciation to all of you who have hosted trainees in the summer and other times. I was walking through the lab yesterday handing out power bars with Alana, and we ran into Deanna Kepka, and Deanna was running around trying to get a grant in, and she had these two students like asking for help, you know. And she was like helping them while getting her grant in, and it was just fabulous to see the commitment and the dedication. And I hear from these students that their experience here has changed their lives. Literally changed their lives, changed how they think about what they are capable of doing, changed how they think about what they want to do. So you're really making a big difference. It's a really important contribution. Community health. We had a really lot of discussion at our strategic planning retreat about the importance of bringing our knowledge about cancer prevention and screening and early detection and survivorship tools and readiness for treatment tools to our communities. We know that we have a unique opportunity here at Huntsman Cancer Institute to innovate in the delivery of exceptional cancer care for our rural and frontier communities. And we have expanded this year our award-winning Huntsman at Home program to a number of rural Utah counties, again, making a big difference. We send our HCI community health educators into the community, and they've touched nearly 7,000 individuals in this last year. Our leaders in population science are executing with the establishment of a very robust analytical tool that helps us understand what are the specific cancer needs in the area we serve. Are there hotspots of particular cancers? How can we really make sure that we're focusing our science and our outreach in the areas that are most needed by our communities? Access, I've already mentioned, I think, before, and shared with you that it was a theme that came across all of these different domains, that we really need to be getting off the hill, so to speak. We need to be bringing the value of Huntsman Cancer Institute, the value of the University of Utah, to more people in our state and region to really deliver on the promise. And I think you can see that we've taken this very seriously. We are getting out there physically and on wheels in lots of different ways with the expansion of our facilities here, the expansion of our facilities into West Valley and to Vineyard, a second cancer screening and education mobile unit, which is reaching across the entire state and detecting a higher rate of breast cancers in the screened population than we see here on the Hill. So really doing something important. Many of those women have not had access to breast cancer screening. And we have an incredible community outreach and engagement group. I see several of you in the audience here. Thank you so much for all you do each and every day to make all of this possible. I want to highlight the Vineyard expansion because it's an example of a strategic initiative that really addresses all 5 of the pillars. You've heard about it. Scientific impact through our new investment in AI and digital health and clinical translation will be expanded by this Vineyard campus. Clinical innovation, we're going to bring new technologies, new approaches, new ways to bring care to patients at a distance through that campus. Workforce development, you heard from Dawn about the relationships already with BYU and UVU and the many different ways that we're interacting with those communities to provide opportunities for students to have experiential learning in the cancer and health space. Access speaks for itself. Vineyard is helping us to provide access for more patients and community health. We're working really closely with partners, including the Department of Health, the county commissioners, to really be partners in screening for that and assessment for that community. So this is going to be a true comprehensive cancer center where we bring our full portfolio of opportunity, advances, and engagement to Utah County. I want to highlight that when we make these decisions to go to a new community, it's very expensive in terms of financial cost. And this particular project is a $400 million project with land plus the Phase 1A facilities, which include the research building, a community engagement space, and the ambulatory cancer facilities with everything from radiation oncology, pharmacy, infusion, multidisciplinary care, cancer imaging, cancer genetics, et cetera. The only thing it won't have in Phase 1A is surgery and inpatient rooms, but that's coming and it's already planned, right? Because that's the Huntsman way. But I want to really shout out to the Huntsman Cancer Foundation, who has worked with us for many, many years, but is really focusing substantial effort on helping us raise the critical funds to support this project. $400 million project. They have raised nearly 75% of that in secured commitments. And although we broke ground, we don't have anything coming out of the ground yet, so we still have 3 years to raise the rest of the money. We're really, really excited and grateful to the Huntsman Cancer Foundation. You can see a large list of founding supporters on the left, and I just want to highlight Dave Beers, who's one of the founding donors. He lost both his mother and his grandfather to colon cancer at a young age, and he says, my father-in-law also passed away from cancer. This gift from our family is a tribute to their lives and a commitment to a future where fewer families face the heartbreak of cancer. So, I mean, somebody who has taken a huge personal loss and turned it into a way to give back and make a difference so that others don't have to experience that pain that he experienced. Very, very similar motivation to John Huntsman Sr. The Huntsman Cancer Foundation not only raises funding for this project, but they also are our partners in raising funds to support our critical research efforts, and they engage people at the Institute as well as the community in lots of different ways. I've just highlighted one way here with our Sports Fest. And on the left, you can see Michael Delzotti, who's the recently arrived President and Chief Operating Officer for the Huntsman Cancer Foundation. We're so thrilled to have you here, Mike. Stand up and just turn around and wave at everyone. Yay, Mike. Mike is a really distinguished advancement person who's worked at MD Anderson for a number of years and then was the lead advancement officer at the Markey Cancer Center as they were working to really build out their comprehensive cancer program. We're thrilled to have him here. And look how perfect he looks wearing Huntsman blue. I mean, really, good job. He's amazing and brought a great energy to that effort. We had at last Saturday over 1,300 participants in Sports Fest. It was really fun. I see many of you who I saw there here as well, over 100 cancer survivors. And we had 21 teams from HCI. I was hoping that Doug was going to be here today so I could call on him as well, but he's in the clinic. But we need to let him know that we gave him and his team a round of applause for being the top fundraiser at the Sports Fest for HCI. So thank you, Huntsman Cancer Foundation. You guys are amazing. You make the world go round. So now I'm going to turn to the landscape that we're doing all this amazing work in, and all of this incredible contribution that all of you are making doesn't happen in a vacuum. And there are things that we can control, and then there are things that we can't control, but they still are in our environment. And so I kind of frame this as headwinds and tailwinds, and I just want to take a moment to acknowledge some of the headwinds that we're facing because they're real. And I think collectively you could just say they kind of contribute to a sense of uncertainty, which makes it really difficult to make decisions. And so we have to navigate through that. We have the headwinds are we have significant capital investments that are needed to achieve our vision. I mean, we're talking about Vineyard and having a presence in West Valley City, which is a significantly underserved area in our state. We need to be there. All of these things cost a lot of money, and we're having to invest in order to serve these communities. We have additional recruitment expenses for top talent. We have a sixth floor that we would like to build out so that we can have more space over in the clinic. We want to have a new proton beam. You know, there's so many things that we know would really make a difference for patients and communities, be it through scientific investment or infrastructure investment, and inflation is real. So this stuff costs money, and the cost is going up over time. I think all of you are aware, even if you're not in the scientific community, that we are facing a very uncertain federal funding landscape. Lots of change happening. not sure how much of it sticks versus doesn't stick, which is what's contributing a lot to the uncertainty. People don't have a sense of confidence in the way things used to be because things are changing so fast, and that is very, very difficult. I mean, imagine, if those of you who are students, you are the future for cancer research, and I just want to acknowledge that I know it's a really difficult time to be investing in going to graduate school or doing a postdoc when you don't know what the landscape is going to look like ahead. So just know that you have our full support, and we're doing everything we can. Dr. Ulrich and Brad and Ashley Harrison, our incredible director of communications and public affairs, have been on that flight from Salt Lake City to DC regularly to talk to our elected representatives and make the case of how important biomedical research is, and how important training the next generation is, and how important the work we do is for their constituents who are touched by cancer. So thanks to all of you for being on that plane so much. We have in our clinical environment increasing costs while reimbursements are declining. Because of this changing federal landscape, healthcare services for underserved, Medicaid, for example, under pressure. So a lot of things that are happening in our environment, and I just want you to know that your leadership here is very much staying with our fingers on the pulse of everything, anticipating and modeling what might happen, working really closely with our health system leadership, our university leadership, tapping into national groups that have a much more political energy and voice, but then also trying to contribute to it, because let's face it, we serve the entire 5-state Mountain West. We're the only cancer center that has 10 senators. So we are really, really talking to those folks and trying to have Huntsman Cancer Institute have an outsized voice in this dialogue and narrative. And I would say we are getting a lot of interest in conversations with us, which we're very appreciative of. We want to be part of the solution here. Tailwinds, I'm just going to gray out the headwinds because I have to say there are always headwinds. But I want you to hear from me that from my perspective, at HCI, the tailwinds always prevail. If I went back and told you all the headwinds along the way in the last 30 years, I could tell you a lot of stories that many of you haven't heard. Someday, I'll do that. I'll sit down up here and I'll tell you all those war stories. I just want you to know they were many. But we always prevail. Why? Because we have these tailwinds. And a big part of the tailwinds really is this compelling mission and all of you. So those are the bookends. We have, in addition, a significant population growth in the area we serve. That population growth is leading to more need for cancer care, leading to more people talking about the impact that cancer is having on their families and on their communities. And it's driving energy that supports what we're trying to do. We have the most distinguished brand in science and cancer care in the entire state and region. We just did, through Ashley's office, a really amazing brand survey. We are the brand. People know us. They know us for compassionate care delivery. They know us for outstanding scientific contributions that has an effect on outcomes. So we have that lift from the confidence that the community places in us. We have a lot of new strategic partnerships that we've been talking about, as well as an expanding donor community. You probably know, we've said this before, we have more than 1 million people who have been dedicating their resources to support Huntsman Cancer Institute. We have a national reputation for leadership in rural cancer care and prevention. This is something that Neely Ulrich has really, I think, highlighted, distance as a disparity. I still am going to say distance as a disparity. I know we probably only are supposed to say distance as a barrier, but I like the alliteration and I think it's important. So distance as a disparity, and we have national leadership in that space. We have unparalleled community sponsorship. We have diversified revenue streams. I mean, we have contracts and grants, but we have clinical revenues. We have philanthropic revenues. We have F&A revenues. We have a lot of support for our programs. We have a compelling vision that all of us have been attracted to and are committed to, and many, many others, and that is an incredible, powerful tailwind. And finally, our people. I put that first, second, third, last. That is what really drives this engine, all of you. And I want to share with you what you said, because this also makes me want to put our people in bold and all caps. You were asked, if a new colleague asked you what it means to live the HCI mission, what would you say? So thanks to so many of you for answering. Sorry I couldn't put all of your answers on this slide, but I picked a few. Passionate, dedicated, focused, delivering our promise of a cancer-free frontier with urgency. I like that. Working together to advance cancer research and care. It's about supporting each other every day. That's that culture we're trying to achieve, supporting each other each and every day. Understanding that my role is impacting our goal of eradicating cancer no matter the task. No matter what you're doing every day, you're doing something with that goal in mind and you're making a difference. Showing up every day with compassion, purpose, and commitment to excellence. Taking personal responsibility for upholding our core values of excellence in all we do and putting patients and communities first. I come to work with the end goal in mind, that we exist to eradicate cancer from the face of the earth. Then I work backwards to tie my day-to-day tasks to that end goal. I keep in mind that everything I do in some way benefits the patients, present and future. And finally, we are all a vital piece of the HCI puzzle. I'm telling you, I'm going to cry. That just makes me feel so proud and so blessed to work in this community with 4,000 of the most amazing people who are so dedicated to this mission, vision, and values. With all of you and these other tailwinds, we can only achieve. We can only persist. We can only succeed. So you make everything possible. Thank you so much. And I have to turn your attention to this group over here on the left. I don't know if you can see the face on this kid. This is the future. These pictures are so fun. They show so many ways that we come together with our donors and our foundation, our scientists, our clinicians, our trainees, our patients. And this is Shannon Buckley's lab. Shannon decided to bring elementary school students to the lab to isolate DNA. And there were 8 of them there. And I think she got 7 out of 8 to say, I want to be a scientist. That one on the left, I don't know. Or maybe 1 out of 8, maybe that's the one. But in any case, you guys are touching lives in so many significant ways each and every day. And I just want to say thank you for what you did, what you do, and what you're going to do. It is so powerful and so appreciated. And now we're going to be serving you lunch outside of Research South. So thank you very much. Oh, is it really?